Welcome everybody back to the Darkest Fears podcast, and we got Mike back here with me again. And today we're going to be doing The Demons Within. And Mike, sometimes there are just some movies that just come along and they change you forever. This one wasn't it. This one was not it at all.
Changed. Not in a good way.
Not in a good way at all. No. I sat down and I watched this movie, and I found myself kind of pausing it quite a bit because I just ended up just shaking my head a lot. The first thing that kind of really
for your sanity.
Yeah, the first thing that really annoyed me about this movie was first the audio. The audio in this movie is horrendous, especially with the scenes with the cell phone talking to her. It's so fucking goofy. I can't even laugh at it. It's not good.
I mean, just quality-wise, sound-wise, like, we've all dealt with trauma films, and we've all dealt with other independent films and like Full Moon Pictures and just, stuff like that that's got some really bad audio, or maybe just like a shitty VHS that you've watched 4 billion times, but like, this was not like I can deal with it levels of audio. It was just like, what the fuck did that character just say? And it's like, I have to crank my volume 10 more notches and rewind that part if I really cared, because like, they're not mic'd. They're just like 10 feet away from the sound source.
Yeah,
it's just like,
exactly.
What is happening?
There was like, especially it's really noticeable in the police station scenes, when like you can tell they didn't have anything or any of the characters mic'd whatsoever. You could just tell that they were just using the mic on the camera, which is a big fucking no in a movie.
Well, I mean,
like
money and budget wise aside, like, some takes just needed reshot, man, and that's being generous. Like, some, I don't know, like, I don't know why you wouldn't run that back, listen to it, and be like, oh wait, we need to redo that with them speaking louder. Like, I mean, because some of them, like, regardless of what they're saying or how they're saying it, it's just like you can't fucking hear it.
Right. And and also another thing that I have to bring up is the editing in this movie. The editing at some points is super jarring. Like, you will be watching a scene and then it just cuts real fast into something else, and you don't even know what the heck just happened. And
there were maybe like 1 or 2 brief seconds where they did that weird like strobe cut, and I was like hopeful, but it was not.
It was not good. It didn't flow. I felt in the movie, the whole thing felt like it did not flow very well at all.
Yeah,
And that I can't really.
Maybe 45 minutes in, I was kind of just like numb to it, so maybe it didn't really hit on me. I mean, the thing that always knocked me out of fucking left field was the fucking soundtrack. Like, what is happening? It's like, my nephew was in the back room and just started up Tony Hawk 3 on PS1 way too fucking loud.
Dude, no. I mean, like, Tony Hawk would even like have a better soundtrack than this.
But what I'm saying is, like, dude, the emo song where it was just like, I just want to smoke joints all day. It was just like, what the fuck is this?
Dude,
it's like if Blink 182 was a pop band. Like, what the fuck is happening? And also because it's staring me in the face, inspired by terrifyingly true events.
Yeah, you know what? I even did the Google search on trying to find the true events that this movie was inspired by. I didn't find nothing. And you know what? If you're gonna put if you're gonna put that on your movie, at least have it be true.
Yeah, there's plenty of true events of blacked out teenage girls and their mother being like, she's obviously possessed. My daughter doesn't drink. When your daughter was just slamming handles upstairs in her fucking attic or bedroom, and then she comes down and she's like, "Bleh," and pukes everywhere. You call 911. That's
Right.
basically
And
like,
sorry, but there's no terrifying true events of a teenager getting possessed by her cell phone and forcing her atheist parents to seek help from a Catholic priest.
yeah.
Not that I've read anywhere.
If there's any
Um,
hero in this movie, which there is, it's the dad.
yeah,
He's
the
the only one who
fornicator.
did not have time for this shit. He was out fucking being a hedonist because everything around him sucked so bad that he's like, I have to find some joy in a bottle and a woman. Um,
Right. Yeah, he was the only one like trying to go out and actually have some fun with the shitty fucking family that he has at home.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's starting to hurt now that I think about it. Shout out to the boyfriend for being comedic relief.
Oh my god, dude. That's when he was screaming at the dad
Yeah.
and his voice was cracking, I literally busted out laughing. I
Right, and I
and
feel real sour.
my wife actually even came in and checked on me to make sure I was okay while I was watching that scene. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "This is fucking hilarious."
But it's not that thing that you can explain because it's not like, let me rewind this scene, watch this. Like, you might laugh at that a little bit, but to just sit through this fucking slog where nothing happens except for you maybe cracking a smile at like what is trying to be done. And then something like that happens, you just lose it because you've just sat there stone faced for like 45, 50 minutes, just like, when is this going to get good? When is this going to get awesome? Um, and I don't know, man.
It
That's
just
my
never
thing. Is
came.
like,
It never
even if
came.
I
Like,
imagine, even if I imagine this script and everything that took place in my head with like the biggest budget in the world, the best writing in the world, the best script in the world, sound, everything, it still would have sucked. And the reviews I found, I question their legitimacy because I'm like, there's somebody going on about how the cell phone angle is great. The cell phone angle is barely touched on. And then they talk about how refreshing and unique it is. It's like, oh, so you didn't know about One Missed
one
Call
missed
or this
call. Yeah.
popular American remake? You're just gonna
Right.
snub Takashi Miike like that?
Right.
Like,
Like one of the
uh,
greatest horror directors in the world.
but I
Um,
guess that, maybe they're one of those people that don't like subtitles and can't get over that. I don't know. But
oh man, I don't like to read my movies. I like to watch them.
dude, some people like that still exist and it blows my mind. But not to get off too off subject, I can't think of anything I liked. Even the exciting shit was just like, why did you do this? You could have made this scene this way and it would have been way more crazy. And I think that,
Right.
like, I feel suckered because I'm just sitting there waiting for something to pop and it doesn't pop.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
the director Stephanie Hensley, um, I looked up her picture and she definitely fits this movie.
yeah,
And
I wonder just like why.
because
I feel like
she definitely looks like somebody that would portray the teenage girl in the movie, even
I
though
mean,
she's probably like way older.
if you're gonna if you're gonna do this, like, just make it worth it. And I hope they had fun making the movie. I hope that they learned a lot of stuff. Maybe the future will be better, but it's just like, I think a making of documentary would be work wonders for my brain in this situation
Yeah,
because I'm just like,
because I
how
would
do you close
definitely
on a scene and go like, that one's solid, keep it, without being like, oh wait, you couldn't really hear the audio in that one, or that actually looks stupid as fuck. We need to reshoot that. Like, And I know the goal was to make a good film on a low budget, but as you said to me last night, and I agreed with, there are much better films with a much lower budget. I guarantee it. There has to be.
There are. I mean, like even look at like with Deadbeat at Dawn, the one that we just did not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. Um, they had no money. Like those guys,
Yeah.
he took his tuition check that he was supposed to go back to film school and took that money and funded the movie for that. And that movie was way more entertaining than this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make up excuses for something like this. The cinematography is shit, and that's giving it lightly. You this looks like it was filmed with somebody's daughter's camera.
Yeah. I just like I've also been racking my brain over like if this has a target audience, who?
Right.
Like
That's what I've been like
this isn't
just
even more
asking.
like this isn't even more like you could release this like on a daytime TV movie channel, and I don't think anybody would bat an eye except for like why is the quality so bad? Like as far as what happens, like what goes down, how crazy it is. Like I don't even want to consider this horror. Like and I mean the horror genre is pretty stained to me as far as like Hollywood just churning out turds and people like that went to my high school and made turds and like just so much turds in that kind of like comedy and like I was been racking my mind just thinking like why is this teen angst fucking like demonic possession movie like where were we going with this and I can't figure it out.
I mean, you got to even think like there are people, like Damien Leone, who just did Terrifier and Terrifier 2. They were both low budget movies, especially Terrifier. Terrifier was a super low budget movie. All Hallows Eve was even a lower budget movie, but it was way better. And it had it actually had good cinematography in it that was at least pleasable to the eye. This, like, some scenes like were just super like whitewashed out. So I can tell that in the editing process they didn't even care to make the scenes actually look decent. They just wanted to put the movie out as quick as possible. And I think, I don't know if they had like a deadline, because today is actually the world premiere for the movie in Midpoint, Ohio. They're showing it at a drive-in, and the whole thing felt to me rushed. It didn't feel like it was cohesive, and
Right.
that's my main opinion.
It felt very empty too.
Right,
Like
there was
not
no soul to the actors. Like
yeah.
any um you didn't have any empathy for the main character because she was just such a total wanker
Yeah.
the whole
Uh
time.
and the age casting thing, like we're gonna be 30, but we'll play 18-year-olds in a high school. Like I can't look that over. Like that was just
And
crazy to me.
and it said that they got some actors from bigger movies in the movie. I felt like most of the budget may have went to them.
I hope
I
not.
don't know.
That's not a good look.
It's not. And I actually would feel bad for those actors if they have been in actual movies that had decent cinematography. I mean, even if they were just comedies or whatever, I'd be pretty embarrassed to be a part of this project.
Yeah. Um like I said, I hope they had a good time. I hope it was fruitful for them, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm
I,
sure it was a labor of love for everybody in the town.
Yeah, and I mean that's the big thing about creating shit too is like it does not matter what anybody else says. I mean, I feel maybe a little more in this situation because you're having people produce and fund a movie. You're having so many hands on. It's not like being in a band where you're just like writing songs,
No,
and performing them. And
it's
that's
a way
what
different
we have in
process.
our history. But you know, the big thing about art, is just like hopefully you at least fucking liked creating it, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. If you look back on this movie in 3 months and you're like, I made something pretty cool, then fucking rock on. But like, it was very cool. It was ice fucking cold, man. Like, it
Yeah.
was like
I
there's no
mean,
gore,
that
there's
we
no blood, there's maybe one scene that you would consider like gory or horrific, I guess, if you are not desensitized to horror like us, but it hurts.
I mean, it's just and I don't want to sound like a complete asshole about it. It's just that and we're just giving our opinion on the movie. I'm sure there's other people that out there that probably were either a part of the project or
Right, but I'm
know
also
about the
thinking like,
project that actually enjoy it, will enjoy it. But for me, it just didn't do it. It just
well,
did
and
not.
that's why when I was done, I was just like flabbergasted and blown away, like thinking who would enjoy it. Like, it's just very hard to describe how let down I was. I mean, because I was thinking. I mean, I wasn't thinking anything going in. That was my main thing. I didn't go watch a trailer or anything like that. But I just like was
Right.
just
Yeah.
hoping for like a single cool moment, and there's just not one to be found.
Yeah. I mean, I went into it blind too. I didn't
The
want
dialogue
to.
almost a couple times. The dialogue almost had a couple lines where I was like, cool, but they were either delivered like fumbly, or you could barely hear them, or they were just like way off center. Like, oh, we should put this line here because it's a banger, but it like didn't fit what was going on sometimes. Eh, like the only scene I really like is the dad. Anything with the dad because he just doesn't give a fuck and he's just like a dickhead
I
and it's
mean,
just like
yeah, like.
the shit that
Uh,
comes out of his mouth is like this guy's an asshole and it doesn't make sense. And then after I watched it, I felt like the dad. I was like, I'm in an environment that I do not like at all. I wish I could just get away from this, but we're doing this.
like dude, like anytime like she would come down like I'm suicidal and nah, and he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna drug you. Then
Yeah.
nobody's gonna say anything about this.
Yeah, and it's funny nowadays because you're not allowed to talk about suicide and YouTube has policy against it and they want us to use the term unaliving yourself. Sorry, that's not happening, but it's like, you know,
Yeah.
if we're living in a more cultured age where we're gonna start saying stuff like that, and taking suicide seriously, like this movie didn't do anything for that. Like,
No,
at
man.
no point did she like try to kill herself, slit her wrist or anything. Where I was like, oh, like when she like has her breakdowns throughout the movie, I'm just like, oh, maybe like there will be like a crazy nightmare scene or a crazy hell scene. Like maybe she'll like get taken by the demons to hell. Maybe there will be physical demons in the movie. Maybe the demon within won't be like a blacked out girl at a party who won't shut the fuck up and is speaking another language and being hostile and violent. Maybe like it'll be something that pops out of her fucking body. Like who knows? But like it just none of it happened, man. Like even the very first scene, which I will say is probably the best scene in the movie, to me. Oh my god, I just flashed back to the weird scene in the playground. Um, but like the very first scene in the movie, like I was still hopeful at that point. I was abrasive but hopeful. I was like, okay, sound isn't great, weird dream sequence, and for a second I was like, this might be cool, and then like it's like that very next scene broke it to pieces. if you remember what I'm referring to with the poster and her sitting in the
Yeah.
windowsill. Because
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm like, okay, that doesn't look great, but low budget, fine, let's keep it rolling. And then like as soon as the music starts, I still hear like the first 10 seconds of that song in my head. And it's like it's not even like pop punk, like skate punk, like
Yeah, not it's not even
it's
good pop
good
up. I don't know if
Charlotte,
it's like a
it's good
local
Charlotte
band or
level, dude, it's good Charlotte levels of garbage. Like it's so fucking bad. And
and
I don't
coming
understand
from
it.
a couple of previous punk rockers, when I heard that, I was just like, oh god, oh
I
no,
don't even care, dude. Like
oh
I feel like maybe a 12-year-old girl might see this and be like, this is exactly how I feel. Or
yes.
like a 14-year-old like girl like who loves Hot Topic shit, like this movie totally understands me. But like that's all I've been racking my brain on, and like who might enjoy this in the future.
Yeah, this was definitely. I don't think it was made for us. I don't know. It was not made
And
for
that's
us
the
to
thing.
enjoy.
That's fine, but I'm wondering whom it was made for.
Right. I mean, what I would like to do, since we're doing this, I would like to share the wonderful trailer for the movie.
You're gonna do this to me, God.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it to you.
I'm all out of
I'm, gonna do-
anxiety meds.
I'm all out of anxiety meds, man.
I can't do it, Dad.
I can't do it. So here's the trailer for The Demons Within that is premiering today.
Would you give me my last rites if I asked for them?
Do you believe in God?
Or atheists?
We.
My father, Dr. Glenn Wagner. Psychologic extraordinaire, and my mother, Dr. Catherine Wagner, the super doc, saving children from colds and viruses.
Why don't you hold on to this, just in case?
They have no idea what is swimming around in that head of yours, do they? But I do.
You're gonna go through hell
Hey, calm down. Go this.
and drag everyone with you.
Next time, cut deeper, bitch.
Nostra es nunc.
Why are you here?
We drive you from us, unclean spirits. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, we drive you away and keep you from all souls made in the image of God.
Sound in that trailer was not even leveled out.
It was not. It's just
And they're
horrible.
premiering a drive-in, you said?
Yeah, at a drive-in.
Hopefully they touched up that fucking sound. People gonna be driving out that motherfucker.
Right, dude? Like that shit ain't even gonna come in through the car speakers, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
I'm okay. I'm just real depressed.
You should cut deeper, bitch.
Man, I completely forgot about like the weird spiritual guru lady, and like it hurts.
I'm sorry, Mike.
It's just funny because I was going on in previous episodes about how I'm not really into a vast majority of horror movies, and that I have a higher cutoff point for what I'll deal with and what I won't in campy and corny and cheesy and no budget movies, which isn't totally true because there's a lot of low budget movies, horror movies that are mostly dialogue based that are really fucking good. But that's my preference, you know, and that's why when you told me about this opportunity, which, you know, I'm still kind of thankful for, you know, it was a cool thing to do, but I was stoked but cautious, and just like, you know, with Deadbeat, I same thing. I was stoked but cautious, and one panned out wonderfully, and this fucker did not.
Yeah, I mean, you know, shout out to Cody Hessling, you know, for at least giving us the shot to watch this movie. You
yeah,
know,
that's the coolest thing.
you know, and because you know it was just a random thing that kind of just spurred up onto me in a horror forum. You know, he just kind of reached out, and I'm not gonna say that he shouldn't have made the movie, because everybody should
like I said,
have
if
their
they enjoy doing
day
it,
to
fuck
make
it.
their art. You know, and everybody has the right to express themselves how they want to, and how they want to do the movies, how they want to make them. You know, I'm not gonna knock anybody for making a movie, because I have never made a movie. So, you know, I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert in this shit. We're just giving our you know, opinion on the movie. You know, we're not trying to knock anybody down. You're not trying to make anybody feel bad or anything like that. It's just that we're just saying that, hey, we didn't like it, and that's
Yeah, that
perfectly
said,
fine.
I mean, you know, as long as you enjoyed making your art, I don't care what it is. You know, you could be a fucking, you know, crazy ass, awful, terrible person as a human being, but as long as the artwork you made, even if nobody likes it, and you're just smearing fucking poop stains on a wall as a kid, if you had fun, that's really all that matters. That said, I give this movie 2 turds in a punch bowl. It's just not.
I give it a 1.5. 1.5.
I don't even know. I couldn't number scale it, dude. I tried to think about it, and it's just like there is nothing.
You know, I give it a 1.5, because, you know, at least people made it together. That's really all I can say.
Right, and it is cohesive. There is a beginning, middle, and end. I know some people that will flip out because they watched a David Lynch movie they didn't understand, which blows my mind, because it's like they don't know what surreal art is. But anyway, you know, people fucking explode on surrealism or shit like that, or experimental art all fucking day, because it doesn't have a traditional narrative structure.
Right.
People who tear Chris Nolan to pieces because there's 2 time travel scenes in a movie, and they're just like, I don't like it. I don't understand it. There's people that can't read subtitles. They can't watch a foreign horror movie. There's people who you go to their house to watch Godzilla, and they put in a dubbed version, and you're like, excuse me, sir, I'm a man of refined taste. I need the subbed version. And, you know, it is a movie, is what I will say about The Demons Within. It does start, and sure enough, if you brace for impact, you will come out the other side at the end. You may be changed, you may not, but I think you'll probably be disappointed.
I agree. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode on the Darkest Fears podcast. We're also doing another episode today as well for Hereditary Part 2, which is part 2 of my very first episode.
We could change our shirts.
Around for that too. And
we could change our shirts and say it's a different day.
Yeah.